Hi there. Today we're going to figure out pricing for your product. So there are three kinds of strategies you can use. There is number one, your cost plus strategy. Number two is your competitor based pricing. And number three is your value based pricing. Now let's look at each of them. So in a cost plus strategy, you have to first figure out what are your fixed costs, your variable costs, and what is the profit margin you want to keep for the business. So fixed costs are fixed in nature. These are expenses you have to incur irrespective of whether you are producing goods or selling them. So these are things like salaries, your rentals for your office or shop, or let's say electricity costs. Second, you have variable costs. These are variable in nature, and this depends on the number of units you produce or sell. So for example, let's take a hypothetical example of a bakery. So let's say in order to run your bakery, you need to incur fixed expenses of, let's say, salary of, let's say, two people, and your rentals, and let's say your electricity costs, and let's say other miscellaneous fixed costs. And let's say that they add up to $200 a month. And you are able to produce 4 cakes. So that means your fixed cost per cake becomes $50. Now let's say you spend another $200 by keeping one salesman who you pay $100, and by advertising your shop on Facebook where you spend another $100. And let's say by spending these $200 you're able to sell these 4 cakes you have baked. So that means your variable costs becomes $50 per cake. So that means your total cost of making and selling one cake is 50 plus 50, that is $100. And let's say that you want to keep $20 as a profit for yourself. So if you add your profits, then your price becomes 100 plus 20, that is $120. So that is your cost plus pricing. So it costs $100 to make a cake, but $120 is your price that you want to get from selling the cake. Now let's say that there are 3 other competitors in the market who are also selling cakes, and let's say the price of the competitor 1 is, let's say, $110, the price of competitor 2 is $140, and the price of competitor 3 is $160. So these are prices of your competitor products. Now let's try to understand that what is the value that the cake is bringing to the customer. So let's assume that by eating your cake, a customer has an experience which is worth spending $250, right? So now you have to decide how you want to price your product based on your costs, your cost plus profits, your competitor prices, and the value you bring to the customer. Now, if your product does not have a lot of differentiation and there's a lot of competition, and in other words, your customers have a lot of choice in choosing which cake to buy, and there's not a lot of difference among them. So in that case, you want to price your product somewhere near your, let's say, competitor 1 or competitor 2 price. Okay, but let's say your cakes are very special, they're different from the market, and provides a totally new experience to the customer. So in that case, you would want to differentiate your product, and you would want to position your product as a premium product. And in that case, you would probably want to price your product either at a price level of competitor 3 or maybe higher than that, but not less than the value it brings to the customer of, let's say, $250. So depending on how you want to position your product and how differentiated your product is, you can use the different strategies.